going on, everyone? It's your boy Elisha here.
And I'm Eli. We are the E2E show from Eli to Eli, end-to-end, EPL to Eredivisie. We are bringing you the hottest topics in world footy that you need to know. Elisha, what are those topics today?
The elephant in the room and the European giants, Real Madrid, have just won the 2022 Champions League by beating Liverpool in the final. And now people are saying they're the best European team ever. Also, Erik Ten Hag, former Ajax manager and new Manchester United manager, has officially been sworn in. And some fans are excited, some fans are skeptical, and we're going to get into why. Lastly, Philadelphia Union versus New England Revolution ended in a 1-1 draw. A boring game, but what the players were wearing in their pre-match warm-up is what's causing a lot of controversy. We're going to bring you guys all of those news today, our opinions, our accounts on them. But before we do so, Eli wasn't here last week. Eli, what's up, man? You're back. How you doing?
Dude, I am back. For those of you who don't know, I was in Israel the last 10 days and I saw a lot of things. It was a perspectives trip where we learned from every side of the coin of what is happening there and in the Middle East as a whole. I went into territories that I never thought I would be in. I was in uncomfortable positions. I was in scary positions, but at the same time, I learned and I grew from it. And that's the most important thing. And, it's funny, everyone there encourages the West world to stay out of what's going on there. But, I do encourage people to really read through it before developing opinions, if you have any, on that situation, but also stay out of it as well and let them handle their business. But yeah.
Hey, sounds like a very informative trip. And guys, make sure you travel and you expand your mind, you broaden your horizon, go to other places, learn about what's going on in cultures and in different environments all across the world. But also tune into the E2E show because we bring you the culture and the information too. So this week in the world football news, first and foremost, we're talking about Real Madrid beating Liverpool FC 1-0 in the Champions League final. A wonderful goal by Vinicius Jr. to seal the deal for Real Madrid. And a lot of people were saying that Real Madrid can't do it. Liverpool are too strong. There's no way that a La Liga team can do it twice in the span of 3 years and beat a Premier League club. But Real Madrid did it two times, not once, 2 times. Okay, and the final wasn't the most entertaining. It wasn't a high-scoring game. Benzema didn't score. I lost some money on that because of it. But Liverpool started out this game actually the favorites. Like they showed it. They were putting pressure early on. And I said before that if Liverpool don't come out swinging, that if they don't score in the first half, if they don't bury it in the first half, they're going to get crucified in the second half because Real Madrid do this constantly. They sit back in the first half, they wait, they feel it out, they let you tire yourself out, and then they hit you in the second. And that's exactly what they did. From that moment that at the end of the first half, that Benzema scored that goal that was disallowed, Liverpool's spirit completely went out. So when they went into the second half, they were already dismembered, like they were already fatigued, they were already off of their game, and they lost their confidence. And Modric said this at the end of the game. He said that they felt like Liverpool just lost their touch in the second half because of that last instant in the first one, because of that disallowed goal. And so exactly what I said ended up happening. You don't hit Real Madrid. If you don't hit Real Madrid in the first half, they're going to get you in the second one. Boom. And that's exactly what happened. But how did you feel about this final?
No, I mean, I saw what you saw with Liverpool, and I felt so bad. I saw your Instagram live after. I saw how, mildly upset you were, to say the least. And it was tough to see. And, you feel like, once Liverpool missed out on winning the EPL, that they were just going to come out and get the UCL and everything would be okay for Liverpool fans. That's what it felt like heading into it. But I noticed that desperation in that second half, and it felt like Liverpool got themselves in good positions, but they didn't have the person to take the final shot. They were looking for like the absolute perfect shot, but sometimes you just have to rip it and hope for the best. And I feel like they played it a bit too safe. Then Real Madrid, I mean, what you mentioned, the sitting back, they're a team that has a lot of maybe older players, guys that are veterans. They've seen the game.
Experience.
They know how to attack situations like this. And it's no coincidence that this team has won so many UCLs with like a lot of the same group over the last 10
Yeah.
or so years,
Yeah.
because these guys know what it is. They have that winning mentality that we've talked about on this show many times. And I was not surprised that Madrid won. I'm actually surprised that it didn't go to extra time. I was expecting a 1-1
Bro.
extra time, but then I thought Real Madrid, there's no way they lose an extra time in that because of their experience. And all those 30-year-olds, they play like 20-year-olds once it gets to extra time. It's crazy. So I'm
And
not
that's
shocked.
exactly it.
Yeah.
They've won 14 Champions Leagues in their history. And I can't speak for everything that's happened before 2000, but they won it in 2002. They won it in 2014, 2016, 17, 18, of course, and now in 22. But those finals I witnessed and I was able to see, and they were all clear-cut dominance. Like they were clear winners. There was no crazy controversy. Every final that Real Madrid has won in the Champions League in the past 10 years have been fair. Like they've clearly been the better teams. And so now, which raises the question as to whether or not Real Madrid are the best team ever in Europe. Now, the criteria for being in the Champions League in the first place is being the best teams, the best few teams in the top 5 leagues of Europe. So now, if you're in a competition like this and you're constantly winning it, on paper, you are the best team in Europe. I still think it's Barcelona just because I might be a little bit biased. You know what I'm saying? Maradona in the flesh, in the building, you know the vibes. But Real Madrid on paper seem like they have been the greatest European team ever. Like you can't take that away from them. 14 UCL titles, it seems clear.
I get it. And I hate to also be like, I hate to just automatically agree with you. And, but, we're on the same wavelength here. To me, the early 2010 Barca teams, nothing will ever touch those. That's just my personal belief. I think like from top
young
to bottom,
Messi, Thierry Henry, Eric Abidal, a young Dani Alves, Puyol,
Iniesta, Xavi. It's just that just hits different,
I know some people are going to think that we're hating because this is supposed to be about Real Madrid, but somehow I'm always going to bring Barcelona into the conversation. But I give Madrid their props. They won it. Like I said, I'm not super upset that they've won it as a rival.
Yes.
I'm not mad at it because they do deserve it. I'm happy for Vinicius.
It wasn't Barca's time,
It just wasn't. And I don't think next year is going to be our time either. But it is Real's time, and you got to give props where prop is due. And another question that kind of arises within this is there was another team in this final, and Liverpool. And we got to talk about Liverpool, and their performance wasn't horrible. Mane got an incredible shot in the first half that Courtois saves. Courtois was obviously the MVP of this game with 7+ saves. Wow. And just like, come on, he was an absolute brick wall. But Liverpool played well in the first half. They had a lot of chances. They had way more chances than Real Madrid did. By the 30th minute, they had 7 or 8 shots, 3-4 on target, and Real Madrid had none. So they were dominating at first. Trent Alexander-Arnold didn't seem like his best. I don't think Luis Diaz should have started this game because usually he comes off the bench and gives them that extra energy in the second half. I don't think he should have started. Trent has his back turned away from Vinicius, who was clearly open behind him. He was just ball watching, and you can't do that. So it was just one of those instances where, because they're Liverpool and they are a top club, they played at a certain level, at a certain standard, but it just wasn't enough to win the final. So unlucky on Liverpool's side. But will they be back?
No. And it's because of the next thing we're going to talk about here. Because
you don't think they'll be back?
Next year? Same spot? No.
Not in the Champions League. I think they can. I think if they don't lose Sadio Mane, if they keep Salah, they keep the Luis Diaz, and they keep the...
Which is what I was hinting
and they can be back. Yeah. So Sadio Mane possibly going to a Bayern. For you, that might make the difference whether or not Liverpool goes back to the Champions League final next year.
Also, I hate to say it, with City getting Haaland, it's hard to even though I know they're going to choke somehow, they're going to find a way to choke. And we know you discussed this last week. By the way, great job on the episode last week, doing it by yourself. I enjoyed it. But just with those factors, it's hard for me to imagine Liverpool being there next year. I obviously they'll be in it, and I think they'll make a good run and maybe make quarterfinal, semifinal, whatever. But I think potentially losing a guy like Sadio Mane is a game changer to me. And maybe it's because I don't watch Liverpool week in and week out. I don't know the squad all the way through and the depth pieces that they have. But Mane to me is just such an irreplaceable guy. We saw what he means to Senegal. We see what he means to Liverpool, and what he's going to bring to Bayern. Who knows? That might make them the favorites to win next year. Who knows? It's hard for me. But like, what do you think about Mane potentially leaving? Do you think it will actually happen?
I think that there's a big chance that Mane might leave Liverpool this summer for the same reason that Neymar left Barcelona in 2017. Because on paper, during that year in 2017 for Barcelona, Messi was the top scorer. Right now, Salah is the top scorer for Liverpool. Back then, Neymar was the best player in Barcelona, but Messi was still getting all the praise. Right now, Sadio Mane is the best player for Liverpool. The pace that he brings, the intensity that he brings, just the sheer raw talent that Mane brings to Liverpool makes him a more valuable player than Salah. But because Salah is the top scorer in the Premier League, he scores more than Mane on a regular. People hail him as the best player in the team. And I just think that Mane is going to go somewhere where he feels like he's appreciated a little bit more. I'm not saying he's not appreciated at Liverpool, but he deserves a lot more praise than he's been getting. African Cup of Nations champion. He's won the Champions League with Liverpool. He's won the league with Liverpool. He should be on a higher pedestal than Salah, in my opinion, right now. So I do think that he's leaving. I do think that it's going to make it exponentially harder for Liverpool to get back to the Champions League final if he leaves. They do have Luis Diaz in the offense. They will still have Salah in the offense. Their midfield, Henderson is getting older. And he's the floor general for Liverpool. If Henderson's getting older and he doesn't perform as well next year, they lose a lot of their touch. Trent Alexander-Arnold is still young as a fullback. He's 23 years old. Konate is 23 years old. Robinson is 28, but still he's not done playing yet. So without Mane, they still have a solid squad. I don't think without Mane, they have the team that's going to win the Champions League, especially after they failed to do it this year.
Yeah, you know who could be a fun replacement for him? I'm not saying this is the replacement or will happen. So, I'm no Fabrizio here, but if Liverpool gets Alan Saint-Maximin, I feel like that could be a cool replacement.
I was so scared that you were going to say Breck Shade that I was already like face palming. Like, I just feel like Eli is somehow going to... He is too expensive for Liverpool. Breck Shea, if Breck Shea somehow gets himself a spot on Liverpool squad, I will get a tattoo of Breck Shea on my forehead. I'm going on the record and saying this right now.
Well, get ready,
Breck Shea goes to Liverpool, I will do it. No. I'm gonna find that right now. And I used to be a huge fan of Ink Master, so that won't be very hard. I love tattoos, but that's neither here nor there. And other European news.
Yeah, sorry.
In other European news, Erik Ten Hag is now the new manager for Manchester United. And you're very happy about that. Some fans are skeptical. Like I said, some fans are excited about it. He's been the Ajax manager since 2017. He's 2 times Dutch champion, 2 times Dutch Cup winner, 73.5 win percentage. Actually, the last time Manchester United won a trophy was against his Ajax team in 2017 in the Europa League final. Is Ten Hag the guy to bring back Manchester United to their glory days?
Yes, because Ten Hag has the grit needed. He came in as the Manchester United. He's already requesting things. He's already telling everyone how it's going to be under him. He is there to make a difference, make a change. And I haven't felt that with a United manager since Ferguson. Actually, no, since Mourinho. I think Mourinho had that grit and that drive. And I'm not going to, ever talk bad about Mourinho. I like him as as a person and whatever. But no, like Ten Hag, he's coming in with that strong mentality. That's great. Does United have the players to fit that? I'm not sure, because honestly, from what I saw from United the past year was very soft. And I think, getting a guy like Ten Hag, a
That is the
hard-nosed guy.
best word. That's the best word to describe United. You said it
Yeah.
perfect. Soft, but go ahead.
No, that's what I mean. And I think, a hard-nosed guy like Ten Hag who knows how to take a scrappy group of players and make them into winners. Now look what he could do with guys like Ronaldo, Sancho. These guys are very talented players. And if he could get their mentality on track and get them to buy into his system, there's no way. I mean, United on paper heading into last season was supposed to be a top 3 team in the Prem. And I think that they just lack the mindset. They lack that Real Madrid mindset that we've always been talking about. But that they had that softness. They played with that softness, which is why they almost missed out on European competition this season. So I'm very stoked about this Ten Hag. Do I think it should be the end of Pogba at United? Yes, because Pogba absolutely would not fit in with any Ten Hag system. Pogba needs to go to PSG to become a celebrity. That's all he wants to be. We don't need him anymore. He is very talented and so amazing, but he does not fit Ten Hag. He is not what Ten Hag wants, and he would definitely not agree with what Ten Hag has. So I'm ready to move on. And this is great for Donny van der Beek, because maybe he could come back and finally be what he was supposed to be for United. And Elisha's shaking his head right now. So I'm gonna turn it back to you. But
I disagree. I don't think there will be no Paul Pogba slander on the E2E show without being checked. It will not go unchecked. Paul Pogba was not the problem at United, and I will keep saying this. He wasn't the sole problem. I feel like players like Pogba need structure. Mm-hmm. He's a superstar. He came for United. He's gassed. His head is huge. He had amazing seasons at Juventus. So when he's coming to United now and he feels like he's the man, this is his team. He's a superstar. He's the prince. They're supposed to adhere to all his wants and needs. He needs structure. And he's never had any manager, I feel, to really check him as he's growing, as he's getting older, as he's maturing in football. And so if you're not giving him that structure, you can't be mad at him for acting like what the whole world is perceiving him and treating him to be, which is a superstar. It gets to your head. I think that's something that a lot of fans can't relate to and can't understand, is when you have all that money, when you have all that influence, all that power, all that fame, it's hard to not feel like everyone is just supposed to walk, or every time someone says jump, every time you said jumps, they're not supposed to say how high. Like you feel like the commander. And so I don't blame Pogba for having the mentality and the attitude that he's had, because no one at Manchester United, one of the greatest clubs in football history, no one in there was able to check him. I think it was their fault. I think that someone like Ten Hag, if he works with Pogba, can help him turn his career around. But if Pogba goes to PSG, I won't be too upset at it, because he'll be back in France. He'll be with Mbappe. I think he'll have a lot more fun over there. And if he's not trying to really win at the club level anymore, then I think PSG is the spot for him to be, because honestly, other than the Ligue 1, I don't think PSG are winning anything else. He's a World Cup winner. I think Pogba is like, bro, I just want to have some fun. I had my time at United. It wasn't the greatest. So now let me go out and do something else. So PSG won't be so bad.
And I do think talent-wise, Paul Pogba is probably the best midfielder in world football. Like, I just think everything he does is just magical. I just need to actually see him on the field more. I want to, be able to enjoy him in that. And that's why I took a bit of a negative stance against him. I obviously don't hate Paul Pogba as a person or as a player. I was just a bit frustrated, knowing that I have this diamond jewel right there and not being able to see it shine. But, I feel like with Ten Hag, and maybe you're right, he does need to be checked. And I don't think it is Pogba's fault for anything that's really happened with him at United. However, I don't think that Ten Hag is going to be the correct fit for Pogba, because I think Ten Hag's really going to make his players take a step back. And I'm actually worried that I'm definitely worried that Ten Hag's not the right fit for Ronaldo, because I think that's where more clashes could potentially be personality-wise.
Ego is
but
huge on this one, and you can't have ego with Ten Hag. Like he's
that's what I
going to
mean.
check you. We have seen footage of him screaming at players mid-game on the pitch, like, yo, basically stop bitching. Like stop
Yeah.
crying, do what you have to do. And seeing some players get sold the following week or at the end of that season. Like he's not playing with these guys. He is here to win. He's here to make a great football team. And if the Manchester United players don't check themselves before he even reaches there on that first training day, they're going to have a horrible time. And a lot of them are going to get sold because
Yes.
it's time for United to change. It's
And we're
time
already
for them to
hearing.
get back to how they used to be. So,
Yeah, we're already hearing like he doesn't want Aaron Wan-Bissaka. They're gonna sell him. Like he's already making these decisions based on maybe first impressions, and I think it's great overall for United. It might take a couple of seasons to really come into full effect. I'm not going to say that they're going to win the Champions League or win the Prem next year, but give it some time, and I think United might get back to where they were. And honestly, on the Ronaldo thing, we're not going to dive into it, but I think it's best for United to maybe move on from Ronaldo after next year. But
I think so too. I think so too. I don't think Ronaldo's time at United has been productive at all. I think it was more of a romance thing. He
yes,
was obviously he made his name at Manchester United, coming in there at 18 years old, winning so many trophies for them, leaving to go to Real Madrid, and now it's like the coming back home. It's like
yeah,
LeBron going back to the Cavs type of thing, but not in the same situations because LeBron went to the Cavs and won. You
yes.
know, Ronaldo went back to Manchester United and has done nothing. Again, they haven't won a trophy since 2017. So I think it's his time to go to. Ronaldo, bro, stop fighting it. Come to MLS, bro. We know it's gonna happen. Stop fighting it. Like, come on. Like at this point, don't, bro. We know you're going to LA or Inter Miami, but LA is a
Yes.
big possibility. LA is a big possibility, but Ronaldo, stop fighting it. Stop fighting it. Please just come to MLS. Speaking of MLS, though,
Yes.
Philadelphia Union versus New England Revolution ended in a 1-1 draw. I was surprised at New England's performance.
They
They
should have
attacked
scored
a
a
lot
lot.
more. Yeah, they dominated a lot more. I was shocked at how poorly Philadelphia were, but it happens to the best of the teams. I mean, they were the number one team in the Eastern Conference. New England is like 11th to 12th at the time.
Where
So
they shouldn't be,
obviously,
but yeah.
yeah, but on paper this season, Philadelphia should have done a lot better, but New England dominated, and the score didn't reflect that. One penalty to go up in the 75th minute definitely doesn't reflect how hard they worked during that game. But again, they just weren't that clinical. And then Philadelphia ends up equalizing. What did you think of the game?
Terrible. Oh my God. So the way, first of all, I'm very happy that Gustavo Bo eventually made a penalty because he's been struggling this season. He is one of their top goal scorers, one of their
Yeah.
designated players. He's supposed to be the guy. And his dad was there, which was very beautiful to see in the supporter section. And they zoomed over to him. He looked exactly like him. But it was very nice to see Bo, after missing a lot of chances in that match itself, nail a penalty against the hardest goalkeeper to go against, Andre Blake. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, saves all day right there. So the fact that he was able to bury it, beautiful. But then the way they gave up that goal was so heartbreaking for me because as a Galaxy fan, I grew up watching Omar Gonzalez as a center back. And we saw his best years as a soccer player with the Galaxy, winning MLS Cups, being arguably a top 5 MLS center back of all time. But, since the 2017 Trinidad and Tobago match in which he gave up an own goal, his career has just gone so downhill so fast.
Yeah.
And everyone at the Revs camp, every Revs fan I know just absolutely despises him because of how bad he's been. He's been the worst player in MLS this season. And it's just heartbreaking to see because I love him so much. And he meant so much to like my early days of being a Galaxy fan. And,
Yeah.
him to just have the worst clearance of all time, pass it directly to, I mean, this is what you have nightmares about, that you're like
It
so
was just
scared
a
of doing
fluke.
when you're in a match. He did it. Philly wins, or Philly doesn't win, but it felt like a win for them because they were really handed a point right there on a silver platter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to Michael Orr for, just one timing it, not doing
Yeah.
any BS and just tapping it in. Good for him. And he needed that goal as well. But it was very hard to watch. But it was also, I feel like it was important that Philly came out with a result in this match, given all of the lead up to this match and what happened pre-match, given recent events that have happened in the US, too many recent events, actually, if you talk about the last 5-10 years. But 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, Alejandro Bedoya, after a shooting, who is the captain of the Philadelphia Union, scored a goal against DC at DC. He ran to the microphone and he screamed, end gun violence now. This needs to stop. And given what happened last week in Waco, Texas, the Philadelphia Union wanted to, relive that or bring back that message that Bedoya, who's still on the team and still starting for, brought up.
And for those of you who don't know, what Eli is talking about is the incident, the shooting that happened. 18-year-old Salvador, what's his name? What's homeboy's name, bro? What's homeboy's name? It's not Salvador Ramos, 18-year-old, purchased an assault rifle, went into Robb Elementary in Texas, and ended up taking the lives of 18 elementary school students and 2 teachers. This comes right after the shooting at the supermarket in Buffalo and countless other shootings that have happened in the US ever since I feel like Columbine in 1998.
Yeah.
And there's been countless school shootings ever since. So we're talking about right now, though, for you guys to really understand, this is an elementary school. This is pre-middle school. These are
kids,
like kids, little kids. And 2 days before their summer vacation starts, 19 of those kids had their lives taken away in school, and 2 teachers. And like, to be honest with you, I'm sick of even going deep into like the incidents themselves. The news does a way better job at that anyways, but it kind of gives me a headache to even speak on it. So I'm gonna say, for what it's worth, my deepest condolences go out to all the victims, families, friends, just loved ones. And the thing with Philadelphia coming out, and I want to get your opinion on this too, but with Philadelphia coming out with the shirts, for me, is like, I honestly don't care for stuff like this anymore. Because if to put myself in the parents' positions, which is something that I hope to never live, but to be a parent and to send your kid to school to learn, it's 2 days before summer vacation, and for you to never be able to see them again because of just an insane, senseless act of selfishness and violence, to me, it's like a soccer player putting a writing on their shirt saying end gun violence does nothing to me. I think we need laws and legislations, and we need to stop pretending like those things that we do, sharing pictures, sharing videos, just talking about stuff like this actually affects any change, because it doesn't. Because if you go to a father or a mother right now who has lost their child, and you tell them, hey, I'll put a shirt on for you that says end gun violence, that does nothing. That doesn't bring back their baby. That doesn't stop the next shooter who's preparing at this moment right now for the next shooting. It doesn't stop them. It doesn't stop people with mental illnesses from being able to purchase guns. It doesn't stop 18-year-olds who can't even smoke or who can't even drink alcohol to be able to purchase war weapons, assault rifles, and it's, for me, it's like, bro, if players, athletes, whoever has influence, musicians, celebrities want to actually affect some change, bro, collectively, I don't care what it is, stop playing, march over to your councilman, to Congress, do whatever you have to do, force it to actually for there to actually be a legislation change. I want some real impact. I'm sick of people coming out with demonstrations, with shirts, with kneeling, with all of that stuff. I'm sick of it. It's not saving lives. It's delaying the problem, and it's just continuing this violence. So for me, I think I want the people with the influence, the celebrities and the athletes to actually do something to force politicians to change this stuff, to force law enforcement to pay attention, because a lot of the time these guys are posting on social media. I want there to be actual actionable steps instead of just demonstrations. But how do you feel about what the Philadelphia Union did?
Yeah. So while I agree with a lot of you said, there are different points where I disagree. Because I think just America as a whole, we love doing this whole, peaceful protest by, just showing that we hear and or that we hear what they're doing. We see them, and we're showing emotional support in a way. So that's what I think the importance of having those shirts are. And also I think, spreading awareness, even though I think everyone is kind of aware of what happened, what's going on, just showing that solidarity, that's the word I was looking for, with the people. However, I do agree that like it's never enough because we're not seeing any changes. But I do think it is great for the players to use their platforms to speak out, because at the end of the day, soccer players are not just athletes, they're real people. Bedoya, at the time he talked about how those could have been his kids, those could have been anyone's kids. It's just so tough to see. And I also think maybe spreading the awareness and, having these protests kind of takes away from the fact that it is becoming a very numb subject to some of us, because it shouldn't be. We shouldn't be getting numb to these types of things. We shouldn't be like, oh, another shooting happened. So I think, having individual support for each and every one of these kind of shows that, hey, like your time, your situation, your shooting was, we're not going to, just glance over it just because it happens so often. We want to show that it's important that we see you guys, and we are here for you guys. But there needs to be way more change. And I'm personally someone who would never touch a gun in their life. I find that stupid. I don't understand the whole Second Amendment thing. I understand if you are someone that supports it, you have your feelings about this. I just don't think violence should be a political issue, because there shouldn't be any of it, no matter what the situation is. That's just where I stand on it. But it brings up these shirts and everything. It brings up the whole like thoughts on like just sports activism as a whole. Is it a thing, or is it a thing that should happen? Should politics be involved in soccer? I have very strong opinions on this, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
Politics affect everyday people, everyday life. It affects those players, it affects managers, it affects the coaching staffs, it affects the GMs, owners. It affects everybody in the sports world, because everybody in the sports world is a human being that's affected by society, and as humans, if we're not looking out for each other, then what are we doing? And if these players have platforms and they have a voice, and they have, whether it's money, influence, whatever it is, that can help somehow make society better, then they should utilize that. I think that people are so desensitized and so disconnected with real life to say that politics shouldn't be in sports. Maybe because some of these people are not affected by the things that the issues that are being brought up, and so they feel like it doesn't matter to them. And I think that's a selfish way of thinking, because your school's not getting shot up, because your grandma or aunt or uncle is not getting deported because of certain unfair immigration laws, doesn't mean that somebody else is not being affected by it. There's different policies, different political topics that affect people on a daily basis. And as human beings, if we care about each other, we should care about the issues that affect each other, even if it doesn't affect ourselves.
Facts.
So
Just I
absolutely, sports activism should be present and should increase even more, especially to lead to actions.
Yeah, and I love bringing up the example of Marcus Rashford, but I just think everything that Marcus Rashford does outside of the game is just such a beautiful thing. And the difference that he's making and empowering young children of color in England, just absolutely amazing. And that's what we need to see, not just people speaking out against it, but people going out and trying to fix those issues themselves. So just I had to bring up a United player, but shout out to Marcus Rashford here. But but in general though, soccer always claims to be like the sport that brings the world together. And because of that, and if you want soccer to truly be that, then you have to bring in world political issues into the game, because it's about sharing them. It's about having sympathy and empathy for others in the soccer world and in the world in general. And I think it's just so important that politics are involved in soccer, because soccer is a game that does make changes. You know, it changes everyone's life who's a part of it, and it does affect people. And I think it is a beautiful thing when political issues are brought up within soccer and they become so universally known and sound. Think about Black Lives Matter during the pandemic. You know how the whole world, you know, they started to, you know, take notice and more and gain more awareness about what's happening in America and just around the world. And you see the players coming together and supporting it together. That's the beautiful thing about the game. And I'm wearing this jersey actually specifically because of, you know, certain issues. I hate to call it a politics issue, but so this is the Pride jersey that the Galaxy are going to be wearing today. I'm heading to the Galaxy match after this to kick off Pride Month. But, you know, some people are like, oh, MLS teams, you know, they're just doing this type of stuff to, you know, as a marketing scheme or a marketing tactic. But, you know, that's what people who aren't represented who aren't affected by this type of thing uh, that's what those people say, but they don't know the people that actually like are truly happy to be seeing something like this and to feel like they belong within a community, because soccer is supposed to be for everyone. And you know, you might, like I said, you might think of Galaxy wearing Pride jerseys as like some marketing tactic, but for others that makes them feel like they belong in a space and they feel safe in a space. And that's why I think it's very important to have certain things, like have these pride tops, have the gun violence and gun violence shirts. I just think, you know, it helps unify everyone into one, as soccer and the beautiful game is supposed to be done.
And overall, if this game is going to be for the people, if it's going to be a global sport, if it's going to be inclusive, the players and the fans have to stop thinking in such a small box and be open to opening up that box and be open to welcoming, you know, society into the game, because society is what affects the game in the first place and puts them in the position to be able to do what they do in the first place. And so when real things arise and real issues arise, don't shut them down. Welcome it. Use your influence, use your power, use your resources to help and to make the world we live in better. Because again, if you're born on this earth and you're not helping make it better, then what are you really doing? But to move on from that though, on a lighter topic, because we do care about you guys and we do care about the world we live in, the society we live in. We care about our audience also on the E2E show. And so that's why we ask you guys every week to drop some comments, to share with us your thoughts as to, you know, for the topics that we speak of. So comment of the week, Eli, what
Yes.
do we got?
I'm really sorry if I butcher your name, but Olereto Makoka said, I don't blame Mbappe for taking the money, but this is ridiculous. How is PSG able to spend this kind of money on one player and still be afloat financially? It shouldn't be allowed. Although Javier Tebas should stay quiet. He forced Messi out of Barca, and now he's crying because Madrid didn't get Mbappe. I'm not saying he's biased, but the guy probably wears a white t-shirt on match days.
Damn. Wow. First of all,
Yeah, a lot to unpack there.
Olerato Mokoka, thank you so much for your
My
comment. You
bad.
guys don't forget to leave your comments down. But I completely agree. I think that Real Madrid want Mbappe. They don't need Mbappe. I think that
Clearly not.
they
Yeah.
have shown they clearly not. They've won the Champions League, and he had to watch the team that he just denied win the Champions League, which he probably will never win with PSG. So I think that everybody should just move on from this saga. Honestly, I'm gonna milk some more content out of it
Oh,
because
of
you
course.
guys care about it. You guys care about it. But I think that Mbappe made his choice. He knows what he wants. Real, move on. La Liga president, move on, please, and just let this kid play in PSG and finish off his career and does what he have to do. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for your comment. Um, Eli, you're
Yes.
back from Israel.
Yes.
Traveling can have a toll on you. You know what I'm saying? We're starting up a new month. We're filming this on May 29th. It's been a crazy month. But you know we got to do that check-in, bro. How you feeling? How you doing? After having what seems to be an enlightening trip for you. How are you?
I feel so good. I feel so good to be back. May as a whole was such I just feel so blessed of just like what the month of May brought me as a whole. And while I was kind of distant in terms of, content, I obviously took some time off, haven't been posting, but I'll be posting again tomorrow. It was very nice to unplug, see the world, and really expand my horizons within my head. It was just a very beautiful month, and I have so much to thank for it, but also so much to now go back into my normal daily life and apply to, which I'm very excited. And you and I, we have a lot planned this summer for everyone, and I'm very excited for what you guys, our viewers, are going to get from us. But just know that everything that Elisha and I will be doing and are planning on doing is just like something that we are so passionate about. And I'm just very blessed that I have the opportunity to have a passion, because so many people that I've met in Israel, they don't even know what their next day is going to be. They don't know if they're going to be alive the next day. Yet I get to be here, and I have that sense of guilt as well, but I get to be here and just follow my passion whenever I want and, live off it. But how are you doing, Elisha? Sorry, that was a bit of a ramble.
I'm doing, no, it matters. Is you know what I'm saying? Let it out. Let your thoughts out. Let it be heard and let it be known. That's what we here for. That's what we do the check-ins for. And to that point, also, guys, it's important to speak up, to talk to the people around you, to vent. Don't bottle things in, and always let your thoughts be heard. But I'm doing well. I am excited for the month of June. I'm excited for this summer. I'm excited for the next steps of this life journey, whatever that may be. I don't know. It's just right now, my job is to continue to wake up every day, try to contribute the best that I can to this planet, be the best that I can be at the things that I do, whether that's personal or professional. But I feel good. I feel hopeful about this new month that's coming up. Although it's been a tough one in May. I think June is going to be a lot better. And the theme that I'm going into this month with is reinforcing manifestation. And I got to show you guys this picture. I don't know if the viewers have seen this, of Benzema showing Vinicius's hand, and like all the teams that they're supposed to beat or that they've beaten, to make it to the Champions League final, and then already checking off like champions at the bottom, which is like something that I believe a lot in manifestation. I believe in the power of the mind. I believe in the power of visualization. Whether it's vision boards, whether it's having a list like this, whether it's Odell Beckham Jr. already saying, "I'm going to win the Super Bowl," and putting that on his mirror every day so that he can
Yep.
see. I'm a firm believer in that, and I think that that's something that's gonna help a lot. Coming up this new month, coming up in June, I'm excited for it. I feel good. And I'm extremely grateful. I'm extremely grateful, like you said, to be able to do this. I'm extremely grateful to be in a position to be to help this world as much as possible, whether on a large or small scale. I'm grateful for you guys watching this, and yeah, I'm grateful just for life right now. So it's gonna be a good month. It's gonna be a good summer, and I can't wait for you guys to come and continue be on this journey with us. I'm excited about it. But as always, guys, make sure you leave us a like. This was a great episode. This was an important episode for many reasons. Let's get this
Absolutely.
to 4,000 views. That's light work. 4K views, 500 likes plus. I know you guys could beat that. I know you guys could smash that. Let's get to it, man. And make sure you guys tap in with us on social media this week in MLS. Elisha Edouard. Make sure you tap in with the E2E show on Instagram, on TikTok. Subscribe to the channel. Again, comment your thoughts. Eli, send us off.
No longer from Syracuse, New York, from Los Angeles, California to Brooklyn. We are actually E2E now. This has been episode 15 already of the E2E show. Thank you so much for watching. Do everything Elisha just said. Follow us. And also follow the E2E show. We be posted, we be taking what happens on the show and juicing it up a little bit for y'all, making it a little more
Pass it
fun.
up.
I mean, it's
Yes,
always
sir.
fun, but just do the whole shebang. keep following us, and also watch some footy this week because there's always something fun on. Watch a new league if you want to. Watch the Kazakhstan
Always.
league. I don't know, but just watch a match and have fun because
Yes.
life can be fun. I don't know.
Absolutely.
That
Life
was a
is
mess.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. That was beautiful. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.